You're now tuned in to 13signsastrology.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. On this particular episode, I'm going to talk about the secret plot to extort 13 signs astrology, as well as the guy that you know as Ram Hotep. And the reason for this is because of the fact that I have to make public notice in everything that I do, because of the fact that I'm a public figure. And I'm going to explain to you how I got into the position of being a public figure on this particular episode. It's not about making myself into some type of a savior or a hero or some type of a champion or some prophet. Not trying to start a movement or some religion. This is not religious. This is the story of my life. Many people have watched my videos. We've had a successful channel so far. This channel has had over 1.5 million hits. And for me, that's a success because I never seen niggas going this far. I got on YouTube because I was in a situation to where I was made to be homeless. And actually me getting on YouTube is the reason why I'm not on the streets right now. But when I got on YouTube, I became public. My face became public. And different agencies, let's just call them third-party agencies, decided that to put me into a form of a prison since I got on YouTube, so that the things that I teach and just me having freedom in general, so that I can be locked in and disclosed and isolated and put into a corner. And this was done for the reason that I'm going to go into in this particular episode. When I was 14 years old, like I said in the last video that I did, my social security number was compromised. This was done illegally. They had an illegal hearing, and members of my family, from what I hear, were new about this. High up members of my family. Keep in mind, my family is very prominent. We have a lot of successful people in the family, and high up members in the family were behind this plot to make me a dead man. And they had to do it first through my social security number. And then, of course, they're trying to now do it physically. And the reason for this, keep in mind, I was only 14 years old when this happened. I didn't have any knowledge of anything that I know now as far as more science and things of that nature. I only had the lessons that I learned from my grandfather, my father, and at the time, maybe a few friends of the family. However, in the course of me being raised up and me growing up, I was able to escape various different death plots after that time. So in 2005, thanks to one of my best teachers, I call Brother Bay, I was given the knowledge on social security numbers, and I was given the knowledge on UCCs, and I learned about how different third-party agencies can take your social security number, and you have bonds that are attached to your social security number. Social security number means security is a bond or treasury dealing with money. So everybody's social security number, many of you people know this, is worth a certain amount of money, just depending on your blood. It depends on your family estate. It depends on a lot of different factors. It depends on what your forefathers did before you. But in my particular case, I was the firstborn, and I was the one given. Not only was I the firstborn, but I was the rightful heir. Legitimately now, through law, I was the rightful heir to an inheritance. And I didn't know this at the time when it happened. So what happened was that when I was 14, you had different corporations, different agencies, crooks, thieves in general, that decided to what's called expatriate me out of the system. And basically, that's essentially when they declare you dead, worthless. You're not worth anything. So my image, this is what's called a crucifixion, a public crucifixion. And this happened to me over 19 years ago. And I didn't really get the full knowledge of it until actually this year. The full total knowledge of it. So in the course of that, the reason why I got on YouTube and things like that is because I was, as I was saying earlier, I was made to be homeless. And at that time when I was getting on YouTube, I didn't realize that I was made to be homeless. Like I literally, before I got on YouTube and before I was homeless, I was in the streets. I mean, I was a street dude before that. I'm not saying I was a thug or anything like that, but I basically partook in, I did business on the street. I sold clothes and things of that nature. I made a lot of money doing it. And at a certain time, when I started to get, I guess, too big for my britches, if you want to call it that, certain powers that be, mostly Masonic, began to move against me so that they could destroy what I was doing, and even were trying to build up a secret indictment against me for making money essentially off the streets. So I'm thinking that, so in the course of that, I decided to stop doing what I was doing on the streets, and I decided that I was going to try to get into the real matrix and do what you're supposed to do and get a job. So what happened is that I went to go apply for different jobs, talking about Waffle House, Macy's, Cincinnati Public Schools, just different jobs. And every time I would put in an application, it would come back and say that this social security number is not valid. It would always come back, because before that I never had to have a job. And the jobs that I maybe had one or two jobs, and the jobs I had were based on my family businesses, to where I didn't really need a social security number. I was just paid straight up. So it wasn't really based on my social security number. So here I am, at the time I'm about 30 years old, trying to get a job. This is after my little situation with the streets. And keep in mind, this happened when I was 14 with the social security number thing. But I'm not really 100% knowing. I knew about the fact that they can expatriate you, and they can, they can take your money and things. I knew the concept of what they were doing, but I didn't know that it was happening to me. This is what I'm saying. I didn't know that this crime was I didn't know that this was being played out on me. So in the course of me trying to get jobs, it keeps coming back like, your social security number is invalid. Your social security number is invalid. And I'm like, what? This is my social security. This is my social security card. I got my birth certificate, all the different things, documents that you need. And they're just denying me, saying that this doesn't exist. So I'm wondering what happened. So I was made to be homeless, essentially. And in the course of me being homeless, I'm noticing, like, I'm out. I used to panhandle when I was homeless, just keeping it real. I was down in Florida. You know what I'm saying? So mostly I spent a lot of my time being homeless in Florida. So in the course of me, I'm out here panhandling and things like that. And I'm wondering, why are these people, like, how come I get all the money? Like, as far as like the so-called bums that were out there that would panhandle, I would get a lot more money than the average bum. Like, people would give me $3, $20. And these were like big time professional people, lawyer looking people, and people that like they worked on the stock market and stuff. And I'm sitting up here wondering, like, why are these people giving me this money? Or maybe it's just I'm lucky. Like, I'm glad I'm not really wanting to be in this situation, but at least I'm still able to eat. So getting this money off of being a panhandler or whatever. And in the course of this, I meet a brother, and he tells me that, starts to hit me on to some things. And I believe this brother was probably like a really high up agent, government or something. His name was Lewis. I'm not going to say his full name. And if you're watching, shout out to Lewis. And Lewis told me down in Florida that your family doesn't like you. They don't like the fact that the stuff you talk about, but not only that, they don't like the fact that you have an inheritance that's in your name, and you need to get on YouTube and you need to start teaching people and go public with your story. And at this time, I'm like, I'm not getting on no YouTube. I'm straight up like, man, I'm like used to be on the streets selling clothes. Don't get me wrong, I've done other things that I shouldn't have done on functioning off my lawyer stuff. I did sell some things that would be quote unquote considered illegal, like I said, quote unquote considered illegal or whatever. So I'm like, I'm not getting on YouTube. I'm not putting my face on YouTube. And he's like, if you want to get out the situation, you're going to probably end up dead if you don't. So I decided to, after the course of that, I had a few good people help me get out of my situation of being homeless. Shout out to Toya. She was one of them. There's a female particular empress that I know. Few people that helped me to get out of my situation being homeless. Shout out to Duck, a couple family members that I knew that did, take care of me in the course of me before I got on YouTube. Now this is like right before I got on YouTube, maybe a few months before. So they helped to clean me up partially, but they still were like, well, go get a job. So I'm putting in applications and it keeps coming back and I'm like, I can't get a job, and nobody's believing me. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, they keep saying something's going on with my social security number. So I decide, and I'm thinking that it's because I'm a Moor and it's because of the knowledge in my head, and the system just doesn't want to really fuck with me like that. Like they just really are claiming me to be undesirable. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna go ahead and get on YouTube and just do what I do and follow my heart and just teach and put up a website. I was always into astrology, been into that for years. I mean, in the course of me being homeless, I had a lot of time to study a lot of books. So I started 13signsastrology.com homeless in October is when we, on October the 19th, 2011, is when we first got the name, the domain name that's in my name, as well as the Moorish Science Temple as well, in our names. And when I did that, things started out very slow because I wasn't on YouTube yet. I was just writing articles here and there, but I noticed that it was like I was being hit or suppressed, and people didn't really want me to do what I was doing. They were getting kind of like, I could tell like when I come around, people get kind of scared, and I felt a lot of fear because these are like high up people that I didn't realize they had a lot to hide, like lawyers and stuff. So I got on YouTube. Well, I wrote an article, actually. What happened was that I wrote an article on Whitney Houston. When I wrote an article on Whitney Houston, it kind of just like blew up or whatever. And I got a lot of views through Twitter at the time. Shout out to Twitter. This is before they went public. And I got a lot of hate. People started hating, sending me emails and all that type of stuff. But then more money started coming in. So I began to be able to support myself a lot more. And my mother had to help me. Shout out to my mother, the Empress. She had to help me as well to get back on my feet. My sisters, they tried to help me. My brother, he tried to help me, but I was in a situation to where nobody really understood it, even myself. And this is how I really learned about the 13th sign. And this 13th sign is the sign of the unknown. And I have Sun in the 8th house, which is the house of the 13th sign. So my life is like an enigma, even to myself. And I'm still learning the knowledge of it. So in the course of that, I learned that these companies had basically, I ended up finding out once I got on YouTube, pretty much that I was expatted out the system, like I was saying. And these companies took monies, well, actually drew monies from my family estate, from my family inheritance, and they took monies and took my name and basically expatted me out to steal monies and give it to people that they wanted to have it, essentially, people that were under their control. And this was done by high up Masons in the military, high up Masons in the government, high up Masons in the different corporations. And this was going on like all over the country. And I didn't realize this at the time. So I ended up getting on YouTube, starting the site. Next thing you know, I hit 1 million views or whatever. So I ended up dropping a video, which you guys I'm pretty sure know about, the secret plot to extort 13 signs astrology part 1. And that's when things began to start coming out. That's when things began to, like, really the deeper aspects of what I was going through began to get revealed. And in the course of that, I found out that my social security number is compromised. It's a lot of red flags. Terrorists hijacked my social security number and began to partake in fraud, using my social security number to draw monies and things of that nature, using my name even to draw monies. And there was even a secret plot to, at the time, and this was done by big major people, and there was even a secret plot to actually use somebody, since I was on YouTube at the time and they were already mad and threatened, so they began to set up a real big murder plot. And they already had someone in place that they were going to use and say that they were me. And they wanted to basically get rid of me, chop my head off, do whatever they were going to do, and get rid of my body so that it would be no evidence. And they were going to put this other person, which I know who it is. I did my research and found out a lot of information. I'm not going to reveal any names here. I just want to explain to you guys what happened. And they basically, what they did was that they put this guy when they wanted to put this guy in my position or whatever, because they're mad I'm on YouTube, I'm talking about all this stuff, so they wanted to essentially wipe me off of YouTube, and they were going to give this guy my seat, my social security number, and give him basically all the money through the family inheritance so that they can continue with their Ponzi scheme. Because that's what it essentially is. And the Ponzi scheme is based on me. I was the evidence. So I decided that I was going to go public. And I decided that I was going to go ahead and talk about it. And this is when I found out that when I was 14, this started. And these corporations took monies from me, drew monies from me, put it into different bank accounts overseas, international accounts, different bond accounts. This is like an international Ponzi scheme that they used me and try to make me look like I'm the one doing the shit. Of course, but keep in mind, Hotep has no monies in his name. I have no monies in my name. This money was stolen from me. So where I'm getting at here is that people on YouTube, when I did part 1, they were asking me, well, why don't you just quit? Like, why don't you just throw in the towel? These people that you're fighting, they're not going to stop fighting you. These are major powers. And why don't you just get off of YouTube and just take care of your family? But I can't. I can't get a job. I can't get an apartment. I can't get anything without having a social security number in this matrix. That's your number. In order to be in the matrix, you have to have a social security. Everybody, that's why they give you a social security number. In order for you to, if you want to be in the matrix aspect. Now you can live on land and you can partake in sovereignty. You can do that. But that's a whole nother ballgame. You have to, that's when you learn the UCCs and you learn about being a debtor versus a creditor. So that's the new system that I have to tap into. So I can't quit. This is where I'm getting at. I can't quit, because for me quitting saying that I'm going to be homeless in some homeless shelter, eating out of garbage cans, I'm never going to be able to get a place, I'm going to be looked at as an immigrant. There's some type of immigrant on my own land. So what I decided to do, this is a solution video. What I'm deciding to do now, since this plot is thickening now and the banks, different people are coming against me that work for banks and just stealing money out of my account, hacking into my account, hackers from all over the world, hacking into my account, terrorists, international terrorists, going into my bank accounts, taking money because they want to extort this movement. And they're mad because they haven't got me. They've tried to get me a lot of times, a lot of death plots. Keep in mind, a lot of times, a lot of illegal entrances into my different hotel rooms, did all kind of stuff or whatever. Hotel rooms are tapped, illegal wiretaps, of which I'm going to do a video on in depth. So it's to the point now where I'm going to have to, like I said in one video, you got to have 1 foot on land and 1 foot on water. But Hotep is going to have to be 100% a man on the land. So I'm changing up a lot of things in this secret plot. I'm not going to quit. However, you guys that support the website, what you're going to have to do now is that we still have our PayPal accounts, but our bank account is messed up. They stole, not only they steal money of our account, then they put illegal fees onto our account to make it look like the account is in negatives. Keep in mind, we've deposited over $10,000 or more into this bank account, but they basically have sent our bank account into the negatives, over $1,000. And in order for, so I can't even eat, can't do anything without having money, and all my money is generated through the internet at this point. This is how I make my money. So I'm going through a transition now. This is why I'm letting you guys know. This is why I'm doing this video. And what I'm going to have to do at this point is that I'm going to have to get you guys to send donations through Western Union. For those people that are interested in this, we definitely can use your support. I mean, you will get products in exchange for what you're donating. You get a receipt, but things are going to have to be done through Western Union. You can continue to use PayPal. We do have a way to get money off PayPal, but it's going to be a lot slower. So I'm going to set up a new merchant and a new avenue through Western Union. And for you guys that are interested in this, I'm going to have to get you guys to email me personally, which is the number 13, signs plural, astrology @gmail.com. And I'll explain to you exactly how to do this, because we need your support from around the world. And we need to have a means to be able to receive cash money so that we can keep continuing to not only further the movement, because the movement's not going to stop. You see, I did all of these videos out the kindness of my heart. I don't make a lot of money off these videos. make very little money. I support a family member off a lot of the monies that I make, and the rest of the money goes to hotels because they're extorting me, to Hilton and all these different hotels or whatever. So what I need you guys to do is that we're switching up the mode. I'm gonna need you guys to donate through the Western Union. This is how we're gonna have to be able to get our monies. I'm gonna be setting up other means, as well as I'm gonna start putting out DVDs, and I'm gonna be selling these DVDs off of line, because Ramhotep needs to not only have money coming through the air, the water, but we need to have money coming from the land, off of our hand, off of the sweat of our brow, as I was saying in the last video. So the secret plot to extort 13 signs astrology is not going to stop. I realize that they're not going to ever stop until they get me out the way, and I'm not going to ever stop doing what I'm doing until they stop and leave me alone. So first part I'm saying is to the people that really care, the people, the real life people. If you care, shoot me an email so I can give you arrangements on how to help me, because at this point I'm homeless, like I've always been since I started this video. However, I'm to the point where I'm essentially broke and I don't have anything, because all my money has been frozen up through the banks. So the only way for me to get money is through Western Union. I'm just letting you guys know that. So gonna need you guys to send money on that level, and to you enemies, to these Freemasons and high up government entities in the military, this is another public notice to let you guys know that I'm not gonna stop doing videos. It's not gonna ever stop, even if they're not online. I will do videos offline, and I will sell videos by hand and ship the videos to the people and get the monies that way through Western Union. And you guys that want to see my videos and the latest videos and the things I'm doing on astrology will have to order them, because that's what it's going to come down to. I'm not going to ever stop doing public videos, but I'm saying if you guys, just a public notice, for some reason find it in your heart, which I know you won't, because you're full of jealousy and hate and anger, that you want to form a truce, you send me an email. You know who you are. You send me an email and you say, okay, look, we want to form a truce. We want to forge an agreement, a treaty. This is what it's called legally, between the Moors and the Masons, so that this will stop. Because if you don't, it's never going to stop. The government shutdowns and the things, like I said, are never going to stop. So if you guys decide that you want to form a treaty and you have it in your heart, you shoot me an email. You, like I said, you guys know who you are. And to the supporters, we thank you for watching this particular episode. And until we meet again, I'll leave you in. Namaste.